Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Ole Gunnar Solsjaer is under pressure at Manchester United. Ole in or Ole out? Now there's a lot of Manchester United fans that are demanding him out. We recently lost to PSG 3-1 in the Champions League group stages. Very disappointing result, because all we needed was a point to qualify for the knockout stage of the Champions League. We have got one game remaining in the group, and that is RB Leipzig next week. We must have a draw or win to qualify for the knockout stage. Solskjaer has admitted to the mistake that he made against PSG. He says maybe he should have taken Fred off, but he also defends his decision to not take Fred off. Fred should have been taken off at half time. Fred did get sent off in the game because he received 2 yellow cards. He was lucky not to be sent off in the first half for his headbutt on Paredes. He got the second yellow card for the challenge on Ander Herrera. But he did win the ball, did Fred. And I think Solskjaer should have started Donny van der Beek in that game. But like I mentioned on my match reaction, PSG dominated the first half, but I thought the second half was totally contrast. We improved. Like I said, Anthony Martial, he had 2 very good chances. I've got concerns now about Anthony Martial. He's not clinical enough. He's failing to replicate this season what he did last season, because he scored 23 goals last season, and he was also good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Edinson Cavani had a great chance, he hit the crossbar. It was a shame that he didn't score against his former club. And I've got to give Edinson Cavani a lot of credit, because he has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Man United career. Obviously, our goal came from Marcus Rashford. Obviously, it was a deflected shot. PSG's goals came from Neymar. He scored 2. And Marquinhos scored. But PSG, like I mentioned, are a very good team. They've got good players. Last season, they progressed to the Champions League final, lost 1-0 to Bayern Munich. But Solskjaer's beaten PSG twice as Manchester United manager. That defeat against PSG was our 4th defeat at Old Trafford this season. So at Old Trafford this season, we've lost to Palace, we've lost to Tottenham, we've lost to Arsenal, and we've lost to PSG. We've been enjoying our worst start at Old Trafford for around 50 years. So our home form is a concern. We've only won 1 game at Old Trafford in the league this season, and that was the 1-0 win against West Brom. And you can say we was very fortunate to win that game. Away from home, though, we've done very well. We've won our last 8 away games in a row in the Premier League. I think that's the first time we've done that in our history. And we haven't lost away from home in the Premier League since January. But like I've said in regards to Solskjaer, he's not the long-term manager for Manchester United. I don't think he'll lead the club to long-term success. Solskjaer did recently reveal that his priority is leading the club to long-term success, and he did say that the team are going places under his guidance. Because the other week, Solskjaer was asked about a new contract, and he said, a new contract is not his priority at the moment. Obviously, it's not assured that we will extend his stay at the club, But maybe talks will happen regarding a new contract next year. Solskjaer is more than halfway through his 3-year deal. When he got the job permanently in March last year, he signed a 3-year deal with the football club. Now, my concerns about Solskjaer is his decision making, because his decision making is very, very poor. And he hasn't got that proven pedigree as a manager. You know, Manchester United is the third club in his managerial career. Before he came to us, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde. And before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff. He enjoyed a very, very short tenure with Cardiff. The main explanation he got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated. Now, obviously, Mauricio Pochettino was the favourite to replace Solskjaer at the club, but recent reports have now said that Pochettino is the favourite to take over at Real Madrid because Zinedine Zidane at Real Madrid is under pressure. He mentioned he's got 4 games to save his job, Zinedine Zidane. Real Madrid recently lost 2-0 to Shakhtar Donetsk. There's been a few clubs in for Pochettino. Pochettino was the favourite to take over at Man United after Jose Mourinho got sacked. Pochettino's spoken with the club a few times. He was on Monday Night Football earlier on this season and he said he's missing football and he's ready for the return to management, and he did mention that Pochettino's been watching quite a few clubs to try and suss out, the next club he wants to manage. I think he is a better manager than Solskjaer. Pochettino's well proven in the Premier League. He's dealt with top players. His philosophy's good. My only element of concern about him is not won anything in terms of silverware. He's managed 3 clubs so far in his managerial career. He managed Espanyol, Southampton, and he's managed Tottenham. He did endure 5.5 years with Tottenham. Analysing the vast majority of his tenure, Tottenham were competing in and out of the top 4. But last year he guided Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final, and he guided them to the League Cup final and 2 FA Cup semi-finals. And when he was at Southampton, he guided Southampton to their highest ever finish in the Premier League era. But I think we are going to miss out on Pochettino, because he said we've got to act soon if we want to recommend him in. Massimiliano Allegri, he's been on our agenda as well, former Juventus manager, and he said a few weeks ago that Julian Nagelsmann was on our agenda. But I think we are going to stick with Solskjaer for now. I think he could still possibly be Man United manager in the new year. And if he's still Man United manager in the new year, then obviously Solskjaer's got to decide on what players he's going to bring in January. I think Solskjaer's got a good idea of the players he's going to get rid of as well if he's still Man United manager next year. Not all of the blame stems from Solskjaer though, reflects on our inconsistency. There's quite a few problems at the football club. We've had a lot of problems with the board for several years, reflecting now poor our recruitment policy's been. Obviously, none of the managers have been backed enough since Ferguson left. Moyes wasn't backed enough, Van Gaal wasn't backed enough, Mourinho wasn't backed enough, and Solskjaer's certainly not been backed enough, because during the summer transfer window, Solskjaer revealed quite a few times that he was very infuriated with the board. But it is good that we are making plans for next year. Now, Woodward did say earlier on this season that Man United remain absolutely committed to Solskjaer, despite the poor start to the season that we had. The main explanation he's still Manchester United manager is because he is a club legend, and reflecting on that, the board have softened their stance on him. I think disregarding him being a club legend, he would have been sacked by now as Manchester United manager. I think it would be very beneficial if we could get a director of footballing so obviously Solsjaer could get more backing at the club. And it's one of the structural changes that we need at the club. We've been trying to get a director of football in now for like the last 3 seasons or something like that. And there's been quite a few names linked with that director's role. There's been a few former Manchester United players linked with that director's role. I think some point this month, it's Solskjaer's 2-year anniversary at the club. He has been Manchester United manager now for almost 2 years. He's under contract with the club till 2022, and this is his second full season as Manchester United manager. And I always said, didn't I, this season was always going to be big for him, and I said he's got to exceed his expectations if he is to remain Manchester United manager. And I said, if we could finish in the top 4 this season, and if we could win a trophy, that would represent a very good season for Man United, and then that would give us something to build on. You know, he's managed over 100 games as Man United manager in all competitions. We've done well in the league recently. You know, we've won our last 3 games in the league. We obviously beaten Southampton 3-2. That was last weekend. Obviously overcame a 2-goal deficit, you know, because we was 2-0 down. Obviously, goals came from Bruno Fernandes. And obviously, Cavani came off the bench and got 2 goals. He also got an assist, and Rashford got an assist in the game. You know, we beaten West Brom 1-0, and we beaten Everton 3-1. Like I've said to you, there's a few issues that Solskjaer needs to solve at the football club. Like I've mentioned a lot of times, you know, I think he needs to solve the Paul Pogba issue. He's also got to identify his best 11, because I don't think Ollie knows his best 11 at the club. You know, he's tried a few different things since he came in. I think he's got to select the right formation. Now, Ollie has gone a lot with a 4-2-3-1 formation since he got appointed in. I don't think that formation seems to suit our standards. That's my own perception. Now, in a lot of the big games, Ollie's gone with like the 3-5-2, and a few times he's gone with a 4-3-3. A few times he's gone with a 4-1-2-1-2. You know? But yeah. I have taken positives from his tenure. You know, like I've said so many times, we've enjoyed some good periods under him. You know, we was enjoying a good period before we lost to PSG recently. We went on a 19-game unbeaten run last season in all competitions. We was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. You know, did well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. You know, he's made some good signings since he got appointed in as Man United manager. He's brought around 10 senior players in. He's spent over £200 million. He's enjoyed 4 transfer windows. He's also brought quite a few young players into the club, so I do like the way Ollie's promoted the youth. You know, he's had a habit of bringing young British talents in since he got recommended into the club. You know, he did well in his first full season last season because he got us qualification for the Champions League. He also got us 3rd, and he guided us to 3 semi-finals. And we've also seen a lot of players leave the club since he got recommended in. We've seen the likes of Lukaku leave the club, Herrera leave the club. I think they are 2 players Man United should have kept. We've seen the likes of Darmian leave, Smalling leave, Young leave, Valencia leave, Sanchez leave, Angel Gomez leave. We've also loaned a few players out. You know, we loaned Tahith Chon out. We loaned Dylan Levitt out. We loaned James Garner out. We loaned Joe Pereira out again for another season. So yeah, he has got rid of, you know, some of the deadwood. And Ollie showed a lot of tactical flexibility in a lot of the big games, hasn't he? So yeah, there is definitely positives you can take. You know, Solsjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. 3 managers have been sacked since Ferguson left, and that was Moyes, sacked him after 8 months, or was it 8.5 months? We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, and he won 3 trophies in his first season. He won the Europa League, the League Cup, and the Carabao Cup. So we haven't only had different managers with different philosophies in the last, 8 years. You know, we've also brought around 36 players in since Ferguson left, and we've spent over £1 billion on players in the last 8 years, and people will say, reflecting on the money we've spent, we should be in much more of a commanding position. You know what I mean? We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so we haven't won that now for around 8 years. You know, we haven't mounted any title challenge up in the last 8 years, but prior to the PSG game, Solsjaer has not ruled out a title challenge. You know what I mean? We are the most successful team in Premier League history at the moment, because we have won 20 titles and 13 of them are Premier League titles. You know. But Solskjaer, like I've said to you before, is inheriting a squad that is worth 700 odd million pounds. You know, the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's, isn't it? We've made quite a lot of mistakes in the last 8 years, and that's one of the main explanations why we've been so inconsistent. I think a lot of the players we've brought in haven't been the right calibre players for Man United. I think we made a mistake giving Oliver the job permanently, and I think he's in a position he shouldn't be in. I think we did appoint Mourinho in too late. You know, Mourinho should have really come in when Ferguson left. Obviously, Ferguson only made one mistake, and that was obviously appointing David Moyes in. So there you go. But no manager at Manchester United, or no manager in general, will last as long as Ferguson did or replicate Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy. You know, that's something, you know, we've just got to accept. But Ferguson enjoyed, 27 years at the club, won a total of 38 major honours and all of that. But he didn't settle in straight away, because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club, did he? But since Ferguson left, we've been inconsistent, and before he came into the equation, we was inconsistent. Now, we do play West Ham on Saturday at the London Stadium. It's a 5:30 kick-off. Must-win game for Manchester United. We have got to bounce back from that 3-1 loss against PSG. Now, I've just recently given you my preview for the West Ham Man United game. I think the video is still uploading. We have lost our last 2 visits to the London Stadium, like I mentioned. Last time we played there, we lost there 2-0. And we lost there 3-1 under the Jose Mourinho era. Now, West Ham have been in good form. They're sitting 5th in the Premier League. They've won 5 games out of 10 in the league so far this season. They've won their last 3 games in a row in the league. West Ham are coming into this game on the back of a 2-1 win against Aston Villa. Like I mentioned, David Moyes, he's going to be reuniting with Manchester United, isn't he? David Moyes is a former Man United manager. Moyes is into his second spell with West Ham. He's doing quite well at West Ham now, to be fair though, but I think the only club he did really well at was Everton. He enjoyed a good, 10 or 11 years with Everton, didn't he? You know, when he was at us, he was poor. At Solsjaer, he was poor. And at Sunderland, he was poor because he did get Sunderland relegated. You know, West Ham, like I've said, they've got some good players in their team that we need to be aware of. You know, they've got Lanzini, who's one of their key players. They've got Mikel Antonio, he's one of their key players. He's just come back from a hamstring injury. They've got Sebastian Haller. He's one of their key players. I think he's made an impact since he came in. Was it from Frankfurt, if I'm right? I think they got him from Frankfurt. You know, they've got Felipe Anderson. I think they've still got Jack Wilshere. They've got Pablo Fornals. They've got Robert Snodgrass. They've got that Jared Bowen. Will he be in contention to start for West Ham on Saturday? They've got that Craig Dawson, who they got on loan from Watford. They've got that Ben Rama, who they got on loan from Brentford. You know, will he play at the weekend for West Ham? They've got Declan Rice, who's one of their key players. We've been in for Declan Rice a few times. I like him a lot. You know, I like the way he attacks. I like the way he also breaks up the play. Issa Diop, you know, he's a very good centre-half for them. Yarmolenko, I think he'd be available, won't he? He did have to self-isolate because he did test positive for COVID-19. I still think they have got Ryan Fredericks. They've got Fabianski in goal. So they have got some good players of West Ham. We usually do well against them at Old Trafford though, don't we? I don't think we've lost to West Ham at Old Trafford since 2007. We drew with them at Old Trafford last season, was it? 1-1. Now, I think, like I mentioned, Ole will make a few changes in the game against West Ham from the 3-1 loss against PSG. Now, you obviously know the news on Marcus Rashford. He sustained a shoulder problem in our 3-1 defeat to PSG. And there's reports saying that he could be out for West Ham. I'm hopeful that this injury is not too severe. He said Rashford had a shoulder problem before the West Brom game because he missed one of England's games, you know, due to this shoulder problem. But against West Brom, you know, Rashford wasn't fully fit anyway. Rashford's one of our key players. You know, he does score goals for us. His finishing's good. He gets good runs in behind. Rashford's very effective out wide. He's much better out wide than centrally, let's put it that way. Rashford started on the right against PSG. But he seldom plays on the right. You know, most of the time he plays on that left-hand side. A few times he has played centrally, though. We've obviously got David De Gea now back. David De Gea started against PSG, didn't he? He was a doubt before the game because he sustained a knee injury in our 3-2 win against Southampton because David De Gea attempted to keep James Ward-Prowse's free kick out, and when he did that, he banged his knee on the goalpost. And he said he was in some discomfort against PSG, but I think he should be okay. You know, David De Gea, like I said anyway, will remain our number one this season. Or for now, at least. He's been in good form this season, David De Gea. You know, there's been quite a few games where he's made some very good saves. He's made over 500 appearances for Man United in all competitions. And this is his 10th season at the club, so he has been a long servant. You know, there has been a few Manchester United fans saying that Dean Henderson should be now put as number one. It's the right time to put him as number one. I think Dean Henderson has now got that experience behind him. Don't get me wrong, he's reliable enough to become our number one now. Henderson recently made his Premier League debut for the club. You know, in our 3-2 win against Southampton, he did well. He really, really did. Tellez, he'll play against West Ham. He's just recovered from a minor problem. Luke Shaw, he's still out with a hamstring injury, but he's now close to returning. Bay's now back. He's just come back from a muscle injury. Pogba, he's just come back from an ankle injury. He did come on against PSG. Because prior to the PSG game, Pogba had missed our last 3 games. McTominay's just come back from a knock. Donny van de Beek did have a swollen ankle, but he still played against PSG, but he didn't start. He came off the bench. I'm hopeful Donny van de Beek can start against West Ham. I think Jones is still out with injury. Lingard's now back, but he doesn't regularly get in the team anyway. Edison Cavani, as you all know, he's facing a 3-match ban. That's minimum for the racist comment that he put on social media. The FA have been investigating this social media post. Ollie confirmed in his press conference prior to the PSG game that, Edison Cavani has apologised, but he's still going to face at least a 3-match ban. Ollie supports the FA for investigating the social media post. But he did delete the post, did Edison Cavani. Axel Tuanzebe, he's available for the game against West Ham, but I don't think he'll start. He didn't play against PSG because he was suspended. Tuanzebe did very, very well in the game in Paris earlier on in the season. That was his first start for the club in 10 months. I like the way he dealt with Mbappe and Neymar. I think Martial will play against West Ham. Martial's got to be more clinical though in front of goal. If Rashford doesn't play, then I think Daniel James could come in. Daniel James's appearances are now limited at the club. Mason Greenwood, he could also start this game against West Ham. Pogba possibly could start, but I don't want him to start. I think we look better without Paul Pogba in the team. Probably Fernandes, he'll keep his place in the team, but I do want to see Donny van der Beek start. Definitely. If he starts out against West Ham, that will be second start in the Premier League for Man United. The 2 centre-halves will be Lindelof and Maguire probably. Right back will be Wan-Bissaka. I'm going to give you my starting 11 prediction for this game. Probably will be tomorrow now. How do you think Man United could line up? So, yeah. Solsjaer will probably be doing his press conference tomorrow, so I'll be giving you my reaction to that. So anyway guys, that's everything to update today. Drop me comments, like, explore on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.